Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. You have Jaime En Fuego here, and I welcome you to my namesake program, Enfuegotainment, for just a special tribute of sorts to a director that we lost today at the age of 80, none other than Joel Schumacher. So originally on Mondays there is a animated Monday or a musica Monday. You know, I basically look at something animated of the slightly more adult and less kiddie variety, or something music related, whether it's a documentary, a full-on musical film, something of that nature. But after the loss of Schumacher today, I just wanted to at least give my personal thoughts about a director that I believe was not respected to the degree that he deserved because of a couple films in particular that he made. So it's really funny to me in this regard, because when the Variety report came out this morning and I was prepping the animated episode, I see, oh, director of Batman films, Joel Schumacher, dead at 80. He had sadly been struggling with cancer for about a year, which is, you know, really rough to think about. But at the age of 80, and especially with the esteemed career that, if you look at his IMDb, you look at his Wikipedia, you look at just the massive amount of amazing things that he contributed to, Batman, in my estimation, is merely a footnote. I feel like there is this like big black mark on his record because he directed Batman and Robin. I hated Batman and Robin. That film was absolute trash. It was visually amusing to a degree, but, you know, the use of Bane and overstuffing the turkey with all of those villains, you know, Schwarzenegger and Thurman as Ivy and an ice skating Batman. But these are things that we can disregard because Batman Forever actually is not that bad. We have that terrific Seal song, and really, at the end of the day, he was a great director. He still directed both of those movies well. It was the fact that they had bad scripts, and there was a very intentional just purpose to make this stuff more kiddie after Tim Burton went so dark, especially with Batman Returns, which is my favorite Batman movie. But based on those, they the cowl of those few Batman films overshadows the amazing work that Schumacher did. Most notably, one of my favorite films of all time, and boy is it a controversial one at this particular point. I'm going to do a full review of Falling Down with Michael Douglas, and yep, there the brightness jumps back up anytime you do that with the auto bright. But yeah, talk about a powerhouse performance. Yeah, powerhouse performance, man, from Mr. Michael Douglas. And you've got Robert Duvall in this, and it's came out in 1993, if I recall correctly, but it's about one man. You know, the falling down that is referenced in the title is about just, you know, the spiraling into depressed anguish that befalls this man. He was very obviously on edge initially. He is separated from his wife. He does have a child. He's trying to make some sort of, reconnection with them on a particularly impactful day, which is very important, but he gets stuck in traffic. It's a film that I stress probably would not be made in this day and age because of some of the things that transpire. Especially, there is a holdup in a in a McDonald's kind of fast food place where all the dude wants is, you know, breakfast. And man, you thought the Big Daddy parody of this was something, and oh boy, it's way beyond that in this particular case. And going against gangbangers at the time, which was a really big thing in LA in 1993. But, I mean, Duvall being on the verge of retirement and last day on the force, and he has they bring the stripper girls and the cake and all this other stuff, but yet he is so determined to really go after this particular guy. I look forward to giving a proper review of this. I think I might even push what was originally going to be my Throwback Thursday Retro Fuego this past week, because I need to talk about Falling Down, because I mean, Michael Douglas being my favorite dramatic actor of the 80s and 90s, and now it's probably segued to maybe a Michael Shannon or a Sam Rockwell or someone of that nature. But really, Douglas in the 80s and the 90s, whether it was Wall Street, whether it was Falling Down, whether it was even a little later in the decade with Fincher's The Game, Michael Douglas, god damn, he is ridiculous ridiculously good in this movie. It received all of the acclaim for a reason. It's a very tough film to watch, though. And it was this film, along with A Perfect World, directed by Clint Eastwood, and then A Simple Plan by Sam Raimi. Those were three films that in the 90s, when I was very young and first getting into film punditry, and just that sort of analysis and sad films, movies that just hit you in the feels and leave you feeling like shit. Yes, this is one that you're gonna have a bad time. You know, if you pizza when you're supposed to French fry, and vice versa, whatever. But Schumacher, everybody is gonna point to The Lost Boys. And I love The Lost Boys. You know, I really, really, truly do. The Frog Brothers spin-off comics that they've done, the Lost Boys stuff with, it was either IDW or Vertigo or one of those comic lines. He really set a specific, just benchmark of sorts for sexy vampire stuff. It wasn't of that gritty variety that we got with Catherine Bigelow later on in the decade, or with Near Dark, obviously, or even in the 90s with my personal favorite vampire film, which is From Dusk Till Dawn, the Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez collaboration. But yeah, he's a terrific director. He was able to wrangle in the Brat Pack with St. Elmo's Fire. He was, he even wrote some of the script, or co-wrote the script, if I'm not mistaken, for The Wiz, which was that, awesomely Afrocentric retelling of The Wizard of Oz with Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, and it was awesome. The fact that he was a openly gay man in Hollywood before it was inclusively acceptable like it is now, and like it took way too fucking long to actually get to, if I'm going to be very frank and just crass about it. What was the problem? The fact that he laid it all out bare and for everyone to see, which is fantastic. And how could I have any sort of reverence if not for talking about the fact that he's probably the best to ever adapt John Grisham. He did The Client, Brad Renfro, a fantastic performance. I believe Susan Sarandon in that movie as well. And then A Time to Kill, Matthew McConaughey, Samuel L. Jackson. One of the most iconic courtroom scenes that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I mean, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. The guy had a knack for just doing almost anything, which is what's really fascinating about his career. And the fact that even stuff like Thailand with Colin Farrell, and Phone Booth, which was terrific, also with Colin Farrell, with just condensed, and just anytime you can do a film that's primarily in one very small condensed area and you have one actor, think of Van Wilder when he did the Buried Alive movie. That sort of aspect is what Phone Booth was so terrifically known for. I think Katie Holmes was in that movie as well. It's awesome. And he had some stinkers, obviously. It's fine. It is what it is. I was really hopeful for more dramatic awesomeness from Jim Carrey in The Number 23. Didn't necessarily happen. I know that a lot of people like the Joaquin Phoenix and Nick Cage film 8mm. I wasn't too into that one, but art is subjective, as I constantly contend on this channel, everybody. And Joel Schumacher was a brilliant, very talented guy who left his imprint so significantly and is possibly, based on what I've seen most of the trade saying today, misunderstood as far as his talent goes. Everybody's gonna think, oh, he did that vampire movie and then he did those couple Batman movies that sucked. No. Pretty much everything, aside from those Batman movies that he did, was at least serviceable. Even The Number 23, I thought it was not the crock of crap that a lot of people made it out to be. Really, Batman and Robin is at the bottom of the barrel for him, and everything else was at least well directed, even if he didn't have the most serviceable scripts to work with. But this movie, Falling Down, stay tuned until later this week on Thursday, where I get to give my proper just reverence and respect to this film that will hit you to the core of your soul. Michael Douglas, maybe his career-defining performance, and that's about all that I have to say, since I'm trying to keep it relatively brief and just say thank you to Joel Schumacher for all of the impressive work. He did music videos too. He did a couple Pumpkins videos, Bush. The guy had that sort of versatility that is so impressive in Hollywood, whether a writer, a director, whatever. And today we mourn the loss of a creative giant that I believe people should give a much deeper dive into the collective of his work. So I've been Jaime En Fuego. Y'all can find moi on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, just like you see spelled below. Normally on this channel, it's full on reviews of things, whether it's television, film, book, comics, whatever. That it kind of straddles that line between the nerd-centric and Star Wars stuff and comic booky, goofy, whatever, but then also art house cinema and indies and, you know, just competing stuff for Oscars, which have been delayed, as we all know. So yeah, I'd like to have that counterbalance as far as the things that I can like both. It's totally okay. You know, most of you probably do as well. But if you like scarific stuff, yes, the spooktacular, you need to jump over to youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. That's where we do trailer reactions, video game let's plays, unboxings. I have my weekly Stephen King show. Hail to Stephen King! So jump over there, like, share, subscribe as well, whether you do it here or over there. It benefits me and it means a hell of a lot. So rest in peace, Joel Schumacher, an amazing talent, and until the Reel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, Cinemigos, constant readers, viewers alike, say thank you for tuning in to my brief thoughts and just eulogizing of the awesome Mr. Schumacher, but I'm hopeful we share more of this palaver sooner rather than later, and until then, stay in, stay safe, obviously, and watch some Joel Schumacher in the meantime. Either this one or Time to Kill, specifically.